So in this video, you want to learn how to wrap, I'm going to show you. Here we are, we're on the next one. So another week, another video. This one's a tutorial. We're going to do another tutorial video. We are using, this time, PWF, which is platinum wrapping film. It's not the 3M paint protection film, which is also called PWF. So this is a German brand, very, very good. We're going to do a simple install on the bonnet. As you can see, we're wrapping the bumper here, but to start with, we're going to do a much more simple installation, show you guys how to wrap a bonnet, or essentially how to wrap a flat panel, well, almost flat, rather than doing some advanced techniques on a bumper. So we're just going to get straight into it. So PWF, they have their own cleaning solution, and they also have a lacquer sealant as well. So we need to clean it down. We need to apply this as well, and we need to keep this around sort of 30 mil off of the edges. So we just do we just polish the whole bonnet, and then we'll go back over it with some cleaning solution to remove it off of the edges. So first things first, got to be clean. We don't do dust, we don't do grease, we don't do anything like that. You've got to be clean. If you're not a clean person, don't wrap cars. We're going to wipe this down. We're going to use something called, I don't read German, so we're going to use that. It's basically isopropyl alcohol. So as we've said in previous videos, we use brand on brand. So if we're using PWF, we're going to use their cleaners. If we're using 3M, we're going to use their cleaners. I'm just going to give this a good, thorough degrease, a wipe over, whatever you want to call it, a clean, a scrub, a rub, all rubbing. It's always rubbing. I like a rubbing. You like a rubbing. I think most people like rubbing. And like anything in videos, yes, this was degreased before we started filming. The material has been pre-cut, hasn't it? Oh no, I might have, I can't remember. Right, done. So, top clean. So just because the top's clean doesn't mean that's it. We need to clean underneath as well. So the material, when you wrap, you're not going to cut it on the top. You're going to want to return. So we need to clean under the bonnet as well, or in the back of the door, or the tailgate, or boot, or whatever. So we need to clean, scrub, be super clean. Make sure wherever the material is going to stick, there's no fluff. Stay tidy. If you don't like cleaning, get someone to do it for you.
It smells really nice.
It smells like...
It's got that Friday sort of smell.
It smells like alcohol.
Exactly.
Alcohol! That's clean, all the way under there. If you were using a 3M material, or an Avery, or Tech Wrap, Oracle, whatever you're using, you could essentially now lay your material out and go with it. However, PWF, there's another step. We have to use this. So this is basically, again, German, lac. I'm guessing like a lacquer sealant. So just apply it like a polish. So you put it on.
Wax on, wax off.
Wax on, wax off. More rubbing. And again, just stay away from the edges. And if you think you've gone to the edge, just use the ISO to clean it back up. Right, done. So, super clean, super prepped, good to go. This customer does want a sticker under the wrap, so it gives it like the embossed look. So we need to go and make a sticker into the office. Here we go. Right, unlike in the last video, we now know how to use this machine. So hopefully it won't chew up the material. So you can put this in. One computer required.
Because when you unlock the laptop and
well, that's why you go away. Go away. Doing my passcode. Not that there's anything on it. Right, this is the sticker. Low standards. I don't even know what that means. What is low standards? Push send. Well, it's only got 50 grams. Might not be enough. Might be too much. Can't see it. I don't know if it's cut it deep enough. Find out when we try and... This is called weeding. Not like the garden. It's amazing when you use the right tools and the right materials for the job. Right, need a weeding tool, not a trowel. I need a spike. Going on the angle. There we go. Rub, rub, rub. Oh, look at it. You will see that through the wrap. So it'll be underneath. It will say low standards, but it will say it in the wrap, which is quite cool. Looks quite good. On the gold. I have the cheese. Rams likes cheese. Are you going to just stand there and be like fluff ball when we need clean, dog-free air? We can do this a couple of ways. So I like to almost hold it and roll it. Hold and roll, that's what I'm going to call it. So tack it on here and then walk over with the material, pulling the backing out. A lot of people will put it on with magnets, stick it down. We can do it that way if we want. Let's get some magnets. Everything's cleaned, everything's degreased, so we can roll the material out. This doesn't work on all cars because manufacturers nowadays want to use plastic bonnets, unless you've got a Ferrari and it might have carbon fibre or aluminum. Aluminum is very popular. Aluminum. Why do they say aluminum? It's definitely aluminium. So you can do it this way as well. So you can line it up. It's probably a bit easier to do it this way. That way you know all your material is good to go. Middle, backing paper, remove. Just tack it on the corner. And find the backing paper. And then what we're going to do is pull the backing out. Bada bing, bada boom. So the material is on the bonnet. But what we need to do is what they call glass it out. So we want to try and get all these wrinkles out. So you can have a glove. If you've got a glove, use a squeegee and a felt, make sure it's clean. We don't want to be doing flat squeegeeing like that, like a snow plow. That's very bad. We want a 45 degree. And then what that's going to do is it's going to push the material out. And if you get bubbles like this, do not fear, because the material will have air release in it. So just a little bit of pressure, massaging. You see it's disappearing? Gone. Okay, so you want to always make sure that you have an exit for your air. You don't want to close the door as such, so you always want to have an escape. So you could hold that up like that, and then you could squeegee the air out that way. So you don't have to be overly precious with it. Again, you'll learn different materials that you can do that with, and other materials that you'd end up with a horrific glue line through it. So we're going to start getting to the point where we need to potentially use a bit of heat. So we can continue for the minute, but down here, as you can see, lots of bag. So again, I still haven't used any heat. I'm just lifting the film and squeegeeing it down as I go, bit by bit. No tension in there yet. That is all on cold stretch, so there is no excessive tension. I haven't even used a heat gun. Again, just little bit by little bit. If you get a little bit like that, it would probably disappear with your finger. But we're just doing small squeegee. Okay, so that was all done on what they call cold stretch. So that's the middle completed. So heat gun, not too hot. Look, I can hold my hand there. It's getting hot, but it's not too bad. And we're just going to warm the material, and you'll see that the little lines will start to disappear. So I'm not really pulling the material, I'm just holding it off of the bonnet. Oh, shout out to Spandex for the free Steinel heat guns that they gave us. We're warming, so we can start to lay the material down. Okay, so we can now give it a slight stretch, nothing too major. That we can then just squeegee out. Have a bubble, so we might have to lift it back up to get that. So this is a bit tight round here, so what we can do here is what they call a relief cut. Have a knife in my pocket. So what we're going to do is we're just going to cut the material like that, and that will relieve. So essentially, that's the gap that it's created. So you can now put your finger in there. And then we can just continue to work to the edge of the bonnet. So squeegeeing as we go. I do need to get that bubble out. That's a bit big to massage, so. Okay, same on this side. Lift up this section. Need a little bit of heat. Okay, so there we go. You can see the lines starting to disappear. Not excessively pulling it, so you can squeegee all your air out. All right, so there's a little bit of tension in that corner there, but it's no way near tolerance, I suppose, is the word. It's going to get a return under the bonnet as well. So that's absolutely fine. I'll show you how much tension's in there in a minute when we trim it up. So we've just trimmed this off just roughly for the minute, which enables us to fold the material around the radius of the panel. If you've got fingernails, I know everyone's got fingernails, but like long fingernails, like a dirty one, it works really well to go round the radius of a panel. There is a reason that most wrappers have got a fingernail. Just work the radius round, and then when you've got it all the way around, you can do it one of two ways. You can be super methodical and like tuck it under 100% all the way round, which means lifting it up, pulling it under and trimming. Or you just do what everybody else does and you just trim on the back edge of it all the way around with your knife. When you get to the corner, you want to leave a lot of material because we haven't done the corner yet. So cut that short and then come out and leave your corner so that we can work on that in a minute. Nice new blade as well. Not your old rusty Stanley knife from your dad's pot in the shed. We're going to trim off some excess just so that it doesn't all get stuck and you get folded up in it. We're just cutting off what we know we don't need. Again, don't get too carried away. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to start working the material under the edge. A little bit of heat makes it malleable, and then it will also show you where you've got tension. There's a little bit there, so we just need to warm it. So this is all cold stretch. We didn't warm this when we put the wrap on. So if I warm it now, that is what you want to see. The material didn't change. You can just get your finger and smooth it over. Now, if you remember me saying to you, there's a little bit of tension in this corner. If you come and have a look, you see the fingers, not my fingers, these are called fingers, they're quite close together. So when you warm it, you see it wants to shrink. You see the difference between what that looks like and what that looks like. So that is tension. But, like I said, because we're going to do that with it and fold it and stick it under, it's absolutely fine. It's also not that bad. There's not that much tension in there. As we're just going to continue working around the edge, we'll get to the corner in a minute. And then what we're looking for, oh, there's a crease, is the silicone line. So on the back of every panel, there is a silicone line. And the silicone line is where the inside skin is joined to the outside skin. And it's basically a glue line. Time lapse. Right, so corners. Let's do some corners. So there's a couple of different ways you can do corners. Probably quite a controversial topic because some people will go, you can't do that. Some people will say, oh, I didn't know that. Other people will say, that's wrong, that's right. We all know what the internet's like. This corner, it's like a beginner's corner. It's not really a corner. It's more of a dent. So new blade, clean knife, new blade. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do what they call a butterfly cut. And it doesn't mean you cut out a butterfly. So we're just going to get the knife on the back edge of the material. Make sure your material's gone all the way around to the point where it starts creasing up on the other side. And then we're going to cut like a half moon shape. So we're going to cut that way. And then we're going to cut that way. Can now go around a corner. So we can do the same on this side. So this material is really thick. It's a lot thicker than normal wrap material. Normally, you could probably get away with just introducing a little bit of tension and then hooking the material like that. And then trim your corner, job done. This is quite thick material, so what I'm going to do is just lift it up a little bit, get the spider web out. I'm going to warm it just a little bit, and I'm going to pre-stretch. So this is where I'm going to stretch the material like that. I'm going to hold it like that until it cools down so that it stays stretched like that. And then going to do my corner exactly the same way as we did a second ago. Just going to hook it round and make sure the edges are round and in. And cameraman Ryan, go and have a look at that corner. No smoke and mirrors. So we can go and do the same on the other side. And then we can fold our edge under, because that's now good to go. Same on this side. We're going to trim against the silicone line again. Make sure your edges are all stuck down. Go and trim the other side. And then I think we're done. So quickly. There we go. The bonnet is wrapped. That is how to wrap what I would call a flat panel. If you like this one and you thought this was a good video, we'll do some more tutorials along the way. But remember to comment, remember to subscribe, and it is free. You don't have to pay. Like, share, comment. See you in the next one.